Hi, biology students. This is Miss Teslin, and I'm here with a first video for Module 5, which is all about animal invertebrates. So we're going to go to the lessons to find this activity, and we're going to scroll through the slides that make up this concept. So we're in the second slide deck, which is all about body plans. And we're looking at animals and how, as animals have evolved, they become more and more balanced in their organizing of their body plan. Okay, so a lot of these slides are going to talk about the concept of symmetry. That means that balance where you have a balance on one side versus another. Asymmetry is when there's no real balance between both sides. An example of asymmetry are animals like a sponge, where there's no real half that you can cut it down and one side's the same as the other. Whereas symmetry is something like you might find in this jellyfish, which is radial symmetry with a circle. And then we have bilateral symmetry, which is what we find here in this butterfly, where we have the wings are identical to each other on one side versus another. Okay. So that's sort of the basic concept of symmetry. These next few slides really go into the radial symmetry versus the bilateral symmetry, which would be an example. We would be an example of bilateral symmetry. And there's lots of activities to go through to test yourself and your knowledge of this. Matching questions. And then in this slide, I think it's this slide. No, it's the next one. Okay, so in this slide, though, we talk about asymmetrical body plans. That's what the activity is going to be about. Asymmetrical body plans are things like phylum Porifera. That's a group of animals that sponges fall into. Placozoa also is another organism that has an irregular shape. They're like a tiny blob that you can find in animal, very, very small. And then we have the sponges, which is the Porifera. So those are two examples of asymmetrical body plans. Then we have radial body plans, and the example of this is the phylum Cnidaria, which is jellyfish, sea anemones, and coral. And you can see quickly that this is a radial symmetry. That means it's a circle, okay? And then finally, the bilateral body plans. There's quite a few phylums, which is a way of organizing the animals in this category of invertebrates. Of animals, sorry. And we have Rotifera, which is the wheelworms that you see here. Then we also have phylum Nematoda or nematodes. Those are tiny, tiny roundworms that we see, that we can find. Phylum Platyhelminth, which is flatworms. Phylum Annelida, which are earthworms. We have phylum Arthropoda, which are all those insects and spiders. And as we can see here, we have shrimp and lobsters that fall into that as well. Then we have phylum Mollusca, which are actually include snails, but also octopi. So it's a little bit confusing. Usually they do have a shell. And then we also have phylum Echinoderma, which is these example here is the sea cucumber. And finally, we have phylum Chordata, which is a grouping of animals that include fish, reptiles, amphibians, and of course mammals like ourselves. Okay, so these are all examples of bilateral body plans. Now we're going to go to the next slide, and this is where we're going to do the activity. So as we click on this activity, you're going to see a picture of an animal. You're going to decide, is it asymmetrical or symmetrical? For example, this is symmetrical. And we have a spider here. It's the same on one half as the other, so it's symmetrical. If it's symmetrical, what type? You would say it was bilateral. Okay, and then what animal phylum would you classify this spider? Well, you're going to want to go back to those slides, but this is a spider, so it also So it falls under the phylum Arthropoda. Okay. And you're going to continue through. You get essentially 1.5 points for each of these. And once you're done completing everything, you're going to submit it. Have a great day.